Can't break 90.
Oh, well, that's still good. I mean, it's a good average for you. You're doing good, though. Pretty soon you'll break 90. Then you'll reach, 111, like my record. And then maybe 130, like the master. Maybe even beyond. Who knows? The potential's inside you, Anthony.
Hey, dude, Ray.
Dude, hi.
So I got an email from Japan.jp, penned by Mr. Higgins? Master Higgins?
Master, you mean?
I don't know. Some white dude in Japan emailed me.
Master Higgins, dude. Takahashi Meijin. Back in the 80s, he was a hero to all the gamers of Japan. A nobleman whose nobility was only matched by his ability to hit a button 16 times a second, earning him the nickname 16 Shot, and he became the basis for the Master Higgins character from Adventure Island. Legend has it he could split boulders with a single thumbnail.
That's cool.
Anthony, did you hear? The Master's coming to America!
I have to improve my technique.
No shit, you do!
So what do you want to go with?
Why don't I do like the commando?
Okay.
Because I have both offensive characters. I don't get much.
Okay.
Defensive.
And then you said there's a bioengineer?
Yeah.
And I'm going to go berserker then.
Okay.
Okay?
Nobody wants to play the nurse, as I expected.
Okay, I'll do that. Dude, that's it.
Okay.
I got the bioengineer.
On your playthrough, you did play through all the way as the
So let me look at my skill tree just for a second so I see how I'm mapped out here. I need to know what kind of bioengineer I am.
Yeah, I pretty much went all support, like heal team members, give them health boosts, that kind of stuff.
So you made like the ultimate multiplayer bioengineer.
Pretty much, yeah.
Bring some help there.
Gotta get it easy.
So you can use... Oh, man, and I died. Oh, boy.
The bioengineers are just naturally wimpy, right? Right?
Hey, JFresh and I were doing fine last night.
I've been trying to get Dennis to admit the bioengineers are lame for like a year. He won't do it no matter how many times.
They're not, but they're different, and you have to really think about the class that you're playing, and so I need to adjust to this balanced skill, and I could respec everything, but I'm going to go with this. What level am I? 18? Oh, I'm 7 levels below. That's why I'm dying.
Yeah,
The enemies all level to the highest character, right?
Yes, they do, and so I have to be more careful. So in this particular level, see, these are the man cannons, kind of our homage to Halo. I'm a big Halo fan. Everyone in SK is a big Halo fan. And essentially, when you play this level, you're going to notice that some of the man cannons that you played the first time through are no longer are no longer active, and different ones are active. So I just did a heal there.
Yeah.
And so it's a slow heal over time. What's my spider
We'll
here?
take care of that missile, guys.
Spider's the shield spider.
Yeah, so I put a shield on us now. And so, see, now with the shield on, I won't get frozen.
Oh, the status ailments don't affect you.
That's correct.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, the bioengineer, I know you think he is a wimp. He is not a wimp.
Status ailments are deadly.
Yeah.
And as you get to the higher levels, they become increasingly, so all the status elements are random. I think there's I know there's over 20 of these different status effects.
Wow.
And like the ice troll is one of the first trolls you see, but one of the more scary things, if you start seeing elites are always 10 levels higher than you, and elite trolls can't be mounted and taken out like I just did.
I'm also curious, since you're like 8 levels behind him, would you get a lot better experience for this? Does it scale that
Yeah,
way?
you totally do.
Scaled to exactly do that.
Like when JFresh and I started JFresh had this character already, and he was level 18 or 19, and then I started the bioengineer last night. We started playing. By the time I started level 1. By the time we were done, I was level 18 and he was level 26. So
we
you
balanced
catch
it
up real
specifically,
fast.
and we took a lot of time on this. within 15 levels, it gets really hard at 15, but it's still possible, and you'll slowly catch up to the leader.
And Dennis, do you feel that there is like a perfect combination, like 2-character co-op, that is like the best balance, or?
No, actually, there's so many different or skill tree combinations that it really changes everything. So there is an offensive bioengineer, and there is a very offensive defender as well. Shane, I hope you appreciate it. I'm being extremely aggressive here.
Dennis is not one to run away from a battle.
That's right.
Be it trolls of the metallic sort or the internet sort.
I am for melee combat.
So like 2 bioengineers though, like they're not gonna be able to beat the game, right?
Bioengineers are extremely powerful. Actually, because you've got 2 passive heals all the time, and for a while, honestly, we spent the most time nerfing those guys because they were too powerful. So let me put some skill tree points in here. Where do I got? Oh, I need the sentient weapon. So with the sentient weapon, when you use the sentient weapon, every enemy that you kill, it gives you like a combo level. So essentially, you're killing enemies, and you have, for a period of time, depending on how many points you have, unlimited combo. This is for demonstration purposes. Probably wasn't the best, smartest strategic thing. You can see my sword.
Weapon of killing people?
Yeah, that's a sentient weapon. And look at my combo level now. It's maxed at 3, and I got frozen, so I couldn't do my attack.
Were you controlling it, or is it do?
No, it's on its own. It just goes and kills people, and it's giving me combo level. Watch what I'm going to do here now. Okay, I'll take those. And
I can help you with that there, Dennis.
yeah. So sliding. If I start sliding towards an enemy, and then I hit the sort of nuke attack. Okay, the ruiner. It's basically a 2-in-1 move that gets chained.
So I gotta say that, you know, those 2-in-1s and the combo things that you just explained to us, because that's, you know, a higher level combat stuff, which takes a lot of skill to pull off and is more impressive to see. The game never told me how to do any of this. So
advanced combat. Slide to a hold, all these like double taps, all that stuff is actually here. And there's really not necessarily any secrets, but the whole idea is 2-in-1s is to just more combo efficient. I understand what you're saying, and for people, this is the interesting thing about 2 Human and how I think it's so misunderstood. People look at the videos, they think it's an action game, and then they realize, oh no, it's more like a Diablo hunting and gathering game. But at the same time, you combine both of these together, I feel really confident there's nothing like this. Ken, so have you guys ever done this before?
No.
Secrets.
So is this a spoiler?
Let people see it, so they'll start looking for more throughout the game.
More breakable walls in the game.
Oh yeah. Okay, we got 5 minutes to complete this. We got to go up 3 levels, so we got a motor. So we're at 0. So it means we're gonna get kind of like the. Well, congratulations, you just got the booby prize.
Thanks for trying. What is that thing?
Okay, so that is a Dark Elf
Yeah,
leader,
it's a Dark
and
Elf.
we have to kill him. If we don't kill him, all the guys around him will have shields. So we really want.
Elf leader, the graceful kiss among the snow.
That's the names that Chemicolic has done a lot of. He sort of tried to do a lot of research into weapon names and enemy names, and so he wanted to make it really sound Nordic. Man, this guy's got to die. And so we only got one of these. We would have had, like, if we would have basically done the whole thing, all these would have been lit up.
Can I get psychedelic color cycling armor?
Absolutely. There's all kinds of things, and there's some swords that look like glass swords, and they're rippling, and you can change all the colors, and there's a bunch of crazy epic stuff, and there's all kinds of things like dual cloths hanging out your back. And have you guys seen those? They're
No, not
crazy.
yet.
Oh yeah, there's some really really neat stuff. So these guys were reverse polarity. Not reverse polarity, sorry, combo meter. They will take your combo meter away if they get too close.
Aha, that's what that was.
So that's what that color means.
That's what that color means. Yeah. There like I said, I know there's way over 20 of these type of things, but the numbers.
So is there any way to find out these status effects without experiencing them firsthand? I'm not sure I ever would have caught on that those guys were taking away my combo meter.
What do you do? What do you do when you have something so complex? Like, there's no room in the manual for it.
Yeah.
I don't even know if anyone would read the manual. They'll certainly be in the hint book. I don't know if people want to do that, but it's getting into the problem of an MMO, really. And I'm not trying to claim that 2 Human is as complex as an MMO.
There's not a status effect that drains your experiences there, because that'd be really evil.
Never. And one of the rules in 2 Human was never lose experience, because that sucks. And we feel it in the game. When you're playing it, your time should be well spent. And once you get to level 15 and cap it off, then you start looking for the epic sets. That is awesome.
I'm kind of curious, like how much time you guys spent refining the high level play, because the really dedicated players, like to give them like the reward for sticking with it through like 40 hours of gameplay.
A long time. A long time. And we didn't want to really crucify people on how long they have to play the game to get this stuff, but it's not. You see someone with a fully pimped out red suit, they've been playing the game for real.
Is there a luck stat that could increase the drops of good things?
There is.
All right.
There's a percentage loot drop increase. We had this. We're doing all these statistical balancing and like how long does it take per hour to get a red, and how long does it take to get a whole red suit. We had to tell Microsoft at one point, there's red ruins too. And they're like, what? There's epic ruins?
Is there a way to actually check out other people, like to look at them? Like, let's say you're playing with somebody else online. One of the things that that pushes forward the object lust in a game like this is to see how other people are decked out.
No, you can just look at the guy in game and there's no walking up and comparing what the other guy has. We talked about that, and it's one of the things I think want to add for the future. But
perhaps a human fashion show minigame.
In the future, are you going to let people be other gods other than Baldur?
In multiplayer?
Right, in multiplayer at least, because it seems really strange to have a bunch of Baldurs running around together.
So is it possible with the engine? Yes. Will it be a consideration for multiplayer in the future? It's been talked about so much at SK. There's all kinds of things that we talked about that we want to do in the future. The whole game was built around multiplayer and how we can scale it up. Absolutely.
Do you worry at all with the with planning for the future of downloadable content that people are not going to get involved in some of the intricate complexities that you told us about today, stuff that I didn't even know, and they'll see it for what it is and they'll think that downloadable content, that's a cop out. The game's not done.
Oh, there's no way with some of the things we have planned.
And I would assume that would go along with planned frequent releases of content as well.
Yeah, as frequently as possible, and it all is going to come down to the timing, and so nothing has been announced, and we really got to go over this with our partner Microsoft, and everyone's really excited about the game, and it's just those announcements will occur when the time is right.
You've written a couple or one preview for Tales of Vesperia.
To see a demo of Tales of Vesperia, and I also got a chance to play the demo, the public demo that came out.
So this is Emmett Hill? Yeah, but...
I have a lot of experience playing Japanese RPGs growing up, but Tales was a series that I never really got my hands on with.
The first one, Fantasia, never came out here. It was big in Japan, but that sort of got off to a slow start here, and it's only in the last couple of years started to catch up.
It's got, your silent sort of hero with, purple hair and your mage character.
That's for Tales.
Really?
Yeah. Because the last game, Tales of the Abyss, features like this whiny, spoiled prince type kid. I guess he was like a duke or whatever the hell he was. He was whiny. You couldn't really relate to him, and he had amnesia, and everyone in the game hated him. This guy, he's more of I'd say like a Final Fantasy Squall type protagonist, which is a little weird for Tales. They tend to be more candy coated. And they say they're actually aiming for a higher demographic this time. Based on the demo, I just didn't see enough to tell whether the interaction with the characters is there, because the demo was really short and we didn't really get a chance to see the actual interaction between the characters.
Yeah, other than that short cutscene in the beginning in the forest, that's all we really got.
The deal is, he was a former Imperial Knight, and basically he's gone maverick, and he's trying to subversively change things like V for Vendetta. And his friend Flynn, their childhood friends, you didn't see him in the demo, but he's trying to change things from the inside. So he's got a price on his head now. But we'll see if it's actually that cool.
What do you think? First thing in the game I noticed immediately is the visuals. It has a distinct style
to it. What I think is, we all saw Eternal Sonata
yes.
last year, and it looked okay, but the animations, like everyone had like blocky hands, and people walking around like this, which was ridiculous because you had Chopin playing the piano like this. And it didn't really work. And this is different. This is Namco Bandai, but it's a different developer and it's a different engine, and I feel like this looks like Eternal Sonata really should have looked, and it probably is the game that Eternal Sonata should have been. I'm a little worried about the long-term survival of this genre, and that's why personally I'm just hoping it does well, and that it deserves to do well, because I want to see that genre continue to thrive.
Well, one thing for me that stands out a lot, which I think is going to help this game, this is my first experience messing around with Tales, but the combat system, I really liked it.
Yeah.
It's really robust.
Yeah, it's basically a carbon copy of Tales of the Abyss, which every Tales fan agreed was the best one.
Oh, excellent.
So far. So they just, sort of took that and put that here, which is fine. At the demo, I actually asked the Namco Bandai guys if I could actually see the overworld, and they didn't say, oh, we're not going to show that to you, we're sort of hiding that. No, they said, here it is. The developers want you to see this. They want you to know that this is what they've been working on. That was a real focus of them, so that when you're exploring the world, it looks as beautiful as the dungeons and the towns.
Well, I think they're doing a great job with the art style. I mean, not only like running around in the forest, which is the only area we got to see in the demo, is it's very, very beautiful, and it's really colorful, which is nice to see in this generation, because you don't see a lot of games using color as much as they should. But the battle scenes really step out for me because the enemies look really, really good. There's a lot of stuff going on, almost too much for my liking, just because I had to spend a few fights getting acclimated with all the options that you have.
Yeah, every even for someone returning like me, you sort of have to. It sort of took the whole demo to get the hang of it again, because you don't just button mash. You sort of have to target the enemies, and I felt like the difficulty was actually harder than Abyss. I don't know if that's indicative of the final game, but it was definitely more of a challenge for me. Now, did you feel like the interaction between the characters was good, or was it like cringeworthy? Or
some of the dialogue and some of the voice acting felt a little cliche to me. They still do the kind of like in between the text bubbles, they're doing that like stunted stop motion animation for each part, but still the characters were pretty endearing, and like the very small cutscene that we got to see was promising.
I think that's sort of like how Abyss was, and how most of them are. I just want to see games like this, the traditional Japanese RPG with the anime characters. I just want that genre to continue to thrive and have an audience, because it's always been my favorite genre, and I don't want to see it die. I want to see it succeed.
Oh, thank you very much. Meiji.
Yes.
Meiji.
Hello,
Meiji. Nice to meet you. Oh my god, I have to show you something. Come on. No, I want to show you the shoebox.
No.
Come on.
No time.
Shoebox, right?
Oh. Good.
Yeah, shooting watch, huh? Okay. This is my record. Now, I'll do this for you right now, okay? Let me warm up. Alright. Check this out.
Faster.
I know.
No. ゲーマーだろ
はい。
ゲーマーだろもっと頑張れよ
そうですよ。いや、もう一度。もう一度。One more.
資格がない。
もう一度。H.
I love this game, but I can understand how people, when they were looking at it, would just not understand what the hell was going on at all. It is pretty abstract, even though it is basically a platformer, like basically.
But even looking at it, I was like, I don't know what this is, but I want it.
When you start, you control this little dude called a Grimp. If you press any direction on the analog stick, that's the direction that you're going to jump if you're on the ground, or shoot your silk.
When you jump off
your silk is anchored to the ground from wherever you jumped off from. And then you can just rotate the right thumbstick or point it in a direction, and you can swing around in a circle based off that anchor. Your body or your silk, whatever they come in contact with, that's how you collect pollen, which is the resource for the game.
Or break open the pods that house the pollen first. And it's those pods that you can break open one to get a little pollen, but the more you break open in one single swing, will combo and then release more pollen. The whole game is filling these seed pods that start off hollow.
By hitting enemies.
By hitting enemies, filling them with pollen, they fill up until they're flashing, and then once they're flashing, you can jump your Grimp into them, and that'll cause the plant to grow.
You have to know that you can either choose to stick to an object as you pass by or pass through it.
Yes.
And when you're flying through the air, if you hold X, you'll start to spin, and then you'll just pass right through like a set of leaves or whatever it is. Or if you're not hitting anything, you'll just stick to it, and then it's a movable surface.
Right.
So once you understand that you're actually constantly playing with to choose whether you want to go past things or land on them.
You have to press it twice to jump. So there's this rhythm of X once, and then X again at the height of the silk extension to get yourself at max jump
And
height.
it sounds, we make it sound a lot more confusing than it is. It's actually simple, but it's like because there's so much going on visually.
You probably have to play for about an hour, and then it all makes
And even,
sense.
I don't know if you guys read the tutorial, but even after reading that, I was like, okay. And then I went in the level, and I was like, wait. This,
Right. Yeah.
One at a time. Like, you really got to play it, like you said, for a bit, and then it just kind of clicks. You do have a time limit. You have this little, like, oscillator level that's essentially a time limit, and you have to pick up these little things to extend your time.
Right.
And it keeps things moving, and it keeps like your priorities in check, because it's like you get to the point where you got to go for time instead of head for the Spectra. But I don't know. From what I played, I'm still like unsure, because I usually hate stuff like in almost all cases, in like even back in like Sonic being underwater. Like since then, I've kind of hated like the pressure of time. So
I actually don't really have any problem with it in the single player, but once you get into the co-op play, where you start bouncing off each other, and if somebody falls off screen, the seeds that were already partially filled with pollen, they lose 25% of your pollen. Right. If somebody is off screen for more than 2 seconds, it actually becomes more frustrating in multiplayer.
You can almost always head towards the ground and move left or right to find time crystals, or find a rock, like a rock structure that's floating somewhere, and in the nooks and crannies you'll find them. Sometimes you don't want to like go all the way to the bottom of the screen. If you do a combo that's either 5 hits or greater, you'll kind of create a like circle of time crystals all in one spot, and then you can go grab those.
There's more margin for error when you're playing multiplayer and more going on in general. I think that's why it's like you screw up more often and need time more often.
Playing in multiplayer up to two or three players, you guys can link combos. So let's say I get on a plant and start swinging and knock over a couple of these things. Matt starts swinging on a different one. He doesn't even have to start at the same time, just sometime while I'm swinging. He's going to pick up my combo and increase it.
Right, and you can also hold the triggers to reel in your thread.
Right.
So if you're swinging in like basically if you swing, you're going to hit each other, and then you can pick the other person up and kind of whip them around and let them go.
Right.
And there's this kind of like back and forth mechanic that if you're playing with someone who kind of like is on the same wavelength as you, then you can use that to kind of get across the level more quickly.
The Grimps, they can stick to each other as well as to the plants, but when you press the button, you just let go. And I wish you could actually jump off the other Grimp.
When you are playing co-op, you and your friend are coordinating just barely, tenuously holding on by a string, aiming with the very little air control that you have, and like when things do line up, amazing moments can happen, and it feels really, really, really good. It's totally fulfilling for such a small game.
We had a chance to play some 3-player with our roommate over the weekend, and at first I was thinking, well, there's 3, why not 4? But 3, it really seemed like that was just about enough. Any more than that, and there would be just too much chaos.
The camera basically randomly decides to follow one of the two of you.
If there's a rule that goes with who the camera follows in co-op, we haven't been able to figure it out yet.
One guy is attached to a plant up here, the other guy misses a jump and falls, and even though this guy's attached up here, the camera follows the guy that falls all the way back down to the bottom, then it resyncs the guy that was up at the top of the screen down to the bottom as well, and you guys both have to start over. And the chances for that sort of failure increase when you're playing with another player. So 3 to me is like the absolute max that probably would have worked.
The main like problem for me so far is kind of the structure. You have Eden, essentially the hub world, and then you go into your different gardens from there. The first time you go into a garden, you have to collect 1 Spectra, and then you get kicked back out to Eden, and then the next garden opens up, and then you can go there, or you can go back to the first one and then try for 2 Spectra. And essentially you do have to backtrack and get more than 1 Spectra in each level, but you can't just do it all in one run. That's my problem, is you can't just from right off the bat go for all 5 and spend like half an hour in the level or however long it takes and go for it. You're redoing what you do plus more, and since the levels aren't randomly generated outside of the enemies, you are just basically figuring out, and
the mechanics were so enjoyable, and the music and the visuals, like you said, that I didn't really ever think about the fact that, oh, I'm going back into the same stage
but
again.
it's also like you were saying, we were talking earlier, you were saying you're playing it in shorter bursts, and I've been playing it for kind of longer stretches, and it is annoying when you literally get to the point where you have to go right back into the level you played to progress, and then, you just got 2 Spectra, so you now have to go redo those 2 and do a third one.
You get a couple Spectras from 1, like 1 from 1 and a couple from 2. You can make it to the third one. So you don't have to go right back every single time.
I think there's a lot more to the game than most people are expecting there to be. It's going to be, it's subtle. It's not like all of a sudden you're going to get a new power up that totally changes the way the game plays or something like that.
I thought your thread was going to, we were talking about this before, I thought your thread was going to get longer, or you were going to change somehow, but your basic control set, as far as I can tell, never changes. I mean, maybe there's something eventually like PixelJunk Monsters where you get a run button, that changes it, but so far it's all the same, and just the environment and the different objects, like they start to interact with each other, and then you encounter more things there, so it's like the way you move through the world kind of changes, but you always have the same tools to begin with, which is kind of cool because that's what makes it easy to learn and like easy to get into.
Totally true. You've made it sound like basically that later stages in the game do add new obstacles.
Yeah, that was my worry earlier, is that it was feeling a little repetitive. Even though I enjoyed being in it, it's like I wanted a little more of game to go with the like aesthetic, because it kind of toes that line finally. The stages do get more interesting, which is cool. The kind of mechanics change, like at least the environmental mechanics change almost completely, and there's a lot more variety now, which is cool. And I'm curious to see how that goes along the stretch of the game, because I mean, I'm only like Spectra-wise like a fifth of the game there, or I guess a third of it. Like I'm glad that the meat of the game is kind of there and getting better.
How fulfilling the mechanics are. It takes everything that was great about, your Bionic Mando or Ninja 5.0, that type of thing, and just simplifies it down to an experience that's really fun, especially in co-op, and a single player experience is great too.
Think you're a man, you're a really big man. I mean, big like you're so big it's frightening. But a man has a plan to do what he can to get fingers fast like lightning. All throughout history, across the land and sea, getting powers of mystery, find that energy. You're the best in town, pretty fucking cool, just ask around. You're the best in town, no one's gonna ever take your crown. You're the best in town, pretty fucking cool, just ask around. You're the best in town, pretty fucking cool, just ask around. You're the best in town, pretty fucking cool, just ask around. You're the best in town, pretty fucking cool, just ask around.